Education Minister calls on learners to uphold the values of faith. Zambia to host the 26th Waternet Symposium from 29th to 31st October 2025. And Catholics outer wine replaced after becoming a favorite in Kenyan bars. This bulletin is live on our Facebook page, 5FM Radio Zambia, and live on our YouTube channel, 5FM Radio Zambia. With the details, my name is Lance Sannie. Education Minister Douglas Siagalima has called on learners to uphold the values of faith, hope, and love for one another. Mr. Siagalima has described these values as essential pillars for personal growth and national transformation. The minister said this in a speech delivered on his behalf by Minister of Education, Director of Secondary Education, Ms. Yvonne Chulu, at the Bible Festival Marathon held at David Kaunda Secondary School in Lusaka. Mr. Siagalima noted that values-based living empowers youth to become responsible citizens capable of making a difference in Zambia and beyond. The minister encouraged learners to cultivate the habit of reading the Bible, describing it as not as an ordinary book, but as a living guide that teaches kindness, honesty, and love. He praised the festival as a powerful reminder that every individual is part of a larger family that supports and cares for one another. He urged teachers with respect and to always seek ways to help others. Leadership Academy Chief Executive Officer and Bible Mr. Hadin Kapandula explained that the goal is to mobilize strategic government institutions to read the Bible from Genesis to Revelation within 3 days. He rather described the event as a national celebration of faith, unity, and the transformative power of the Word of God, bringing together communities in a shared spiritual journey. Meanwhile, Reverend Charles Miji of the Lusaka Pastors Fellowships noted that communal Bible reading fosters healing and unity across diverse groups. The Ministry of Water Development and Sanitation has announced that Zambia will host the 26th Waternet Symposium from 29th to 31st October 2025 in Lusaka, with both physical and virtual participation options available. The symposium will be held under the theme Accelerating Implementation of Integrated Water Resources Management to Close the Water Investment Gap by 2030 and beyond in Southern and Eastern Africa. This high-level regional gathering will bring together policymakers, researchers, development partners, private sector representatives, and civil society organizations to exchange knowledge, share innovations, and mobilize investments aimed at strengthening integrated water resource management across Africa. Water Development and Sanitation Minister Colin Zovu says hosting this empowerment symposium underscores the government's renewed commitment to positioning water security at the center of Zambia's national development and climate resilience agenda. He says having successfully hosted the 19th Waternet Symposium in Livingstone in 2018, Zambia is once again ready to provide a dynamic platform for regional cooperation, knowledge sharing, and innovation. Engineer Nzovu says the symposium will set a platform for aligning national and regional priorities in support of Sustainable Development Goal number 6 and the SADC Regional Strategic Action Plan on Integrated Water Resources Management. Engineer Nzovu says the ministry is working closely with WaterNet, a SADC capacity building and research network together with the Water Research Fund for Southern Africa and the Global Water Partnership Southern Africa. Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development Assistant Director in the Department of Rural Development, Austin Zulu, has reminded directors of works and civil engineers from Lusaka and central provinces of the huge task they carry and what the people expect from them. Engineer Zulu stated that, especially with the increment of Constituency Development Fund CDF next year and the decentralization which has been tasked on the local authority. He said this recently during a 14-day workshop meant to ensure that road projects deliver value for money and meet set standards. It composed of stakeholders from the National Road Fund Agency NRFA, the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, and the National Council for Construction NCC.
Any project that we can think of, any government program that we can think of, it has to be implemented in a district or in a ward. There's no project that is implemented in the air or anywhere else, but at the end of the day, it has to be in a ward somewhere, it has to be in a district somewhere. And as councils, we are the ones that are actually the interface between government and the communities. And the people who are implementing these community projects, the people supervising these communities, these community projects are ourselves who are gathered here. So when people are saying that, or people want to see what CDF is doing, the bulk of the work, in short, they are saying, what are we doing as engineers?
And engineer Charles Kandeke, who spoke on behalf of the NRFA Chief Executive Officer, urged the participants to apply every knowledge the engineers acquired from the workshop in their various base of operations.
I know the intention of this training was to ensure that we manage public infrastructure projects very, very well. I'm pleased to note that the objectives have been achieved. The message that we always receive from our various stakeholders, including our Republican president, that we need to ensure that projects are done timely, within cost, and of high quality is achieved. This and many other type of training is what we need.
In a bold step towards transforming the nation's livestock and fisheries landscape, Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock has partnered with Zambia National Service ZNS to revitalize livestock breeding and boost aquaculture production across the country. Speaking during the signing of a memorandum of understanding MOU at Mbensuma Ranch in Chinsali district recently, Fisheries and Livestock Minister Engineer Peter Kapala said the agreement marked a significant milestone in government's efforts to increase productivity in the livestock and fisheries sector. Mr. Kapala said the collaboration will breathe new life into the Mbesuma Livestock Breeding Center, which has struggled with poor infrastructure, limited funding, weak data management, and a lack of technical expertise. And Ministry of Defense Permanent Secretary Mr. Mambo Hamaundu underscored government's expectation for tangible results, stating that the service will not just ensure expansion, but that productivity will be key. Meanwhile, the ZNS commander, Lieutenant General Engineer Maliti Solochi, welcomed the partnership, describing it as a historic collaboration and a vote of confidence in ZNS capacity to support national development. Lieutenant General Solochi further highlighted how the MOU stood as a blueprint for cross sector collaboration, emphasizing that both the service and the ministry are fully alive to the importance of cost effectiveness, skills transfer, and community engagement in sustainably delivering the two initiatives. With the MOU in place, ZNS will manage multiple breeding and aquaculture centers. These include the Mbesuma Ranch in Chinsali, Jiwundu Ranch in Kalumbila, Mataba Ranch in Masaiti, and Kalungwishi Farm in Lunte, transforming them into productive hubs. The MOU also covers aquaculture development in Samfia, Mushindamo, and Kasempa. The MOU aims to foster cooperation between the two entities to enhance production and productivity in the livestock and fisheries in support of rural community development, strengthen national food security, and contribute to economic diversification and job creation. Acton Institute for Policy Analysis Center IPAC Executive Director Solomon Gomez supports the signing of the Local Content Regulations 2025 into law. Mr. Ngoma says this move will undoubtedly create employment opportunities, boost local economic growth, and increase revenue collection. He says by prioritizing Zambian goods and services, the country is not only fostering job creation but also promoting economic inclusivity. Mr. Ngoma says it is a step in the right direction and they commend the president for listening to the citizens' concerns. He says this is a long overdue move that will help drive economic development and prosperity for all. Mr. Ngoma says, moreover, this policy opens up a plethora of economic activities empowering people from all corners of Zambia, and he says it will enable them to showcase their goods and services, contributing to the country's economic growth.
This move will undoubtedly create employment opportunities, boost local economic growth, increase revenue collection. By prioritizing Zambian goods and services, we are not only fostering job creation, but also promoting economic inclusivity. It is a step in the right direction, and we commend the president for listening to citizens and various stakeholders. This is a long overdue move that will help drive economic development and prosperity for all. Moreover, this policy opens up a plethora of economic activities, empowering people from all corners of Zambia, from Cherenge to Mongu, Shesheke to Ruangwa, Isirilo to Namwala, and Chawama. It will enable them to showcase their goods and services, contributing to the country's economic growth. We believe this policy will have a positive impact on local communities.
And in other news trending this afternoon, Gordon Party of Zambia leader says it is evident that with load shedding and increased fuel prices, it will be practically impossible for the government to reduce the high cost of living in the country. Woodlands Police Station is investigating a case of identity theft and harassment contrary to the Cyber Crimes Act number 2 of 2021. Up next, the business news.
5FM Radio Business News. We mean business. Keep you current in commerce, trade, and industry, local and global. It's our business to keep you informed about business.
The Zambia Association of Manufacturers (ZAM) says adjustments to excise taxes on alcohol, tobacco, and FMCGs introduced in 2025 created uncertainty. Mr. Saga said sudden and unpredictable changes discourage reinvestment and may fuel illicit trade, posing a severe threat to both public health and national revenue in 2026. He said the current excise duty regime itself is a primary driver of this problem, notably the ad valorem system for spirits and the inflation-linked hikes for tobacco create market distortion and uncertainty. The ZAM president therefore recommends predictable, first, and industry-aligned reforms that will support both revenue mobilization and continued investment. He said the introduction of the minimum alternative tax MAT in 2025, based on turnover rather than profit, poses challenges for capital-intensive industries with narrow margin. Mr. Saga encouraged consideration of exemptions or a tailored application to support industrial growth.
The idea around this is to tackle smuggling, and so it ensures that manufacturing base is not eroded by people who are not paying their taxes. So a lot, I think, is being done, but the problem is we may be in a situation where certain industries are being taxed out of, their production volumes will not grow if these taxes are too high.
Ends the business news, and in news from across our borders, The Kenyan Catholic Church has introduced a new brand of altar wine for Holy Mass after the previous one became widely available in local bars. Simply labeled Mass Wine, the new sacramental drink bears the coat of arms of the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops and an official signature to certify its authenticity. The move has been welcomed by the Catholic faithful, who believed that the previous brand had lost its sanctity due to its widespread use outside the church. And in sports news, Football Association of Zambia President Keith Mwemba has assured clubs that the association will help cushion the burden of paying referees increased allowances. This comes after Muchinga and Northern Province clubs issued an ultimatum following the Football Association's decision to raise transport allowance fees for referees. Mwemba made the remarks on Thursday during the official launch of the referees' assessor course.
Eyes and be negligent because the concerns of these teams are also valid, and we have already brokered a meeting. We're going to meet them, and they have nothing to worry. We can't introduce something without having a plan. We shall find a way to cushion all these teams that have complained. Others have said we have already submitted the budget.
And now the weather.
Class Econ Roofing Africa. Class Econ Roofing, plot 17100 off Katanga Road, 150 meters from Mumbwa Road, Chinika Industrial Area, Lusaka. Class Econ Roofing. Class plus economy. Class Econ. Class Econ Roofing Africa. Class Econ.
Northwestern, Western, Southern, Lusaka, Central, Copperbelt, Luapula, Northern, Muchinga, and Eastern provinces, partly cloudy, windy at times, hazy, and hot to very hot with a chance of isolated showers over Chipata, Petauke, and northern parts of Lundazi and surrounding areas with maximum temperature ranging between 29 degrees Celsius and 39 degrees Celsius. The evening will be partly cloudy, windy at times, and warm. Ends our weather report, and that item brings us to the end of the news. But before we go, a recap of the stories that made headlines. Education Minister Douglas Siagalima has called on learners to uphold the values of faith, hope, and love for one another. The Ministry of Water Development and Sanitation has announced that Zambia will host the 26th WaterNet Symposium from 29th to 31st October 2025 in Lusaka, with both physical and virtual participation options available. And finally, the Kenyan Catholic Church has introduced a new brand of altar wine for Holy Mass after the previous one became widely available in local bars. For more news, follow us on Facebook, 5FM Radio Zambia, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, 5FM Radio Zambia. On behalf of the entire news crew and the technical department, thank you for listening to the happy world of 5FM. Stay safe and stay tuned to 5FM Radio. My name is Lance Sannie. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon.